I'm right here where the high fence deer pen starts, and I wanted to put into perspective the elevation difference and frankly how hard it is to fence up the side of a mountain. But I want you to first understand what the elevation is right here, and then the elevation at the highest points, all four corners, so you can just kind of see what I'm up against. But this right here at the lowest point where the deer pen starts, this is 5,668 feet in elevation. Now I'm going to ride the four-wheeler all the way up to the next highest spot. We're going to shoot the elevation up there. I made it up here to the top corner of the deer pen, and the elevation right here is 5,858 feet. So now I'm going to run over. The elevation should be the same over there, but I'm curious to see what it is down there at the bottom. So here we go. Okay, this corner is 5,831 feet. So now I'm going to ride down the new fence line and see what the difference is between up here and down at the very bottom. Okay, this corner right here is 5613, which between the bottom and the top, quick math's about 215 foot difference. So there's 215 feet that I've had to hike up and down and up and down on this side, especially because this side is shorter and it's just much steeper. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been thinking to myself, there's got to be a couple of 100 feet difference in elevation between the two, and it's 213, I think, is the exact number. So now you know, knowing is half the battle. In the very first year after buying Red Poppy Ranch, I spent a lot of time cutting down trees and thinning brush and simply trying to figure out how to use it. And there was this old guy that would drive his Cadillac up, and he would let me know that there shouldn't be anything on this land other than horses and cattle, and that I now owned a piece of land that used to be part of his multi-generational family ranch. During those first couple of years, I would be up here working, and people would regularly stop by and tell me that I will never be able to live full-time up here, and that the weather is quite a bit different here than it is in the middle of town. Now again, with elevation, to put it into perspective, our house is probably 1,000 feet higher than the center of town. Our front porch is 5,570 feet, and over the last 9 years we've seen just about every type of weather you could ask for around here. Because of where we live, I'm trying to utilize the land that we have, and ultimately, I believe the fallow deer are the best for the land. But the deer will only be in this new upper deer pen during the warm months. The deer shouldn't be in here at all when there's snow on the ground. But every spring, before I turn the deer loose in this new big deer pen, I'm going to need to get access to every fence line and check for any damage from the winter. The trail that I put in next to the fence line should give me access and provide me with a room that I need to do any maintenance should the fence need it. The front end of this bobcat can get a little bit light when I'm going up the side of the mountain, and even with the roll of fencing sitting like it is, I don't have enough weight to get up this little ridge here to set the fencing down. So I had to reposition the fencing to get a little bit more leverage before I could get over that ridge. But one of the things that I'm really looking forward to figuring out with these deer is because deer are different than horses and cows, deer forage. They eat, they love the leaves off the maple trees. Matter of fact, I think similar to goats, grass is typically the last thing that deer eat. They will eat everything else. They will eat some of these invasive weeds because they have 4 chambers in their stomach. They have the ability to eat things that cows and horses can't. All of the invasive weeds that we have on this side, the deer are going to play a role in, frankly, making this place look better. So 5 years from now, I'm hoping that all of this work pays off. And not only do we have enough feed for our deer to supplement them all summer long, but it looks amazing up here. It should look even better as the trees get thinner and as the grasses start to come up. So. With some scrap lumber from my wood pile and a come along and a chain, I anchor off to my side-by-side and I progressively work my way up and down the fence, stretching it so it's all evenly tight by the time I get all the way down to the bottom. The small deer pen down in front, I nailed everything off with a hammer and fencing staples, but I'm telling you the best decision I've ever made was getting my hands on a Milwaukee M18 fencing stapler. What used to take me hours now literally takes me seconds. The fence is not precision straight, but under the circumstances and taking the consideration of the peaks and valleys in the side of the mountain, I'm really happy with the way it's starting to come together. I can see that the fence is going to last for a very long time, and I'll tell you, after all the effort I put into this, it better outlast me. That's that same doe that's been hanging around. She's got a little limp. I just noticed that she's got a little limp as she's walking. That's probably a fawn of last year. And once I finish my pen, one of the things I have to make sure is that I don't catch any deer or any turkey. Anything, frankly, that can't get out. Turkeys can probably get out, but mainly the deer. I got to make sure there's no deer in here before I lock things up and put my deer in here. So after watching that first roll of fencing go bombing down the hill and actually do a little bit of damage to the fencing, I decided I better slowly help this roll of fencing all the way to the bottom. But again, this is over 300 pounds and it's 8 feet wide. Because of the angle and the side of the mountain, I haven't found a better way to do this than to just simply do it by hand. Quite a few of you guys have sent me videos on Facebook of the little fencing rigs that can be used with skid steers, and I actually have one that mounts on the front of my skid steer, but because the roll of fencing is 8 feet high and because it's just awkward to work with, I don't feel safe having it hanging off the front of my skid steer at nearly a 30-degree angle. But if I was on flat ground, I would most certainly build something that would allow me to roll the fencing out with the skid steer and do it at a much faster pace. It's the most physically demanding job I think I've ever done around here, and once I roll the fencing out, I then get to go back and progressively stand it up and hang it on the fence posts. Some days, at the end of the day, I barely make it into the house, but there are other days where I'm reminded that I still have quite a few fence posts that I have to peel. And while I'm dirty, I might as well get it done. I'm probably a quarter mile, maybe more than that, away from the house. And for the last, how many years? 6, 7 years, Cedar has always maintained those hummingbird feeders on the front porch. And every year we have more and more and more hummingbirds. It's a lot of fun. Cedar and I spend a lot more time sitting on the front porch, just sitting and talking, which has got to be good for our relationship. And I was just sitting in the side-by-side maybe 5 minutes ago, and I just turned it off and I was listening to a podcast, just kind of taking a second, and this bird came up and looked me in the eyes, and I would guess it was maybe 24 inches away from me, and it looked me in the eyes long enough to be like, and by the way, I've been sitting in my master bedroom editing. I usually have my window open when I'm editing videos and stuff like that up there. And numerous times the hummingbirds will come and look right through the window at me, and usually that's an indication that they just want more sugar water. But to have them come up here and have a stare down with me while I'm sitting in the side by side, it makes you think a little bit. So anyway, one of the perks of living where we live. I'm telling you, there are days when I try to come up with bigger problems than the fence just because I don't want to work on fencing, but slowly but surely I'm making a little bit of progress. I typically take it about 7 posts at a time, which is somewhere around 80 feet. And once I have it as tight as I want it, I nail everything off. Because of the curvature of the mountain, I've had to cut the fencing in a couple different spots and stitch it back together so the fencing is as tight as it can be. One of my absolute favorite things about where we live is the opportunity to interact with wildlife. And unfortunately, because of all the change that's happened around here, these interactions don't happen as much as I wish they did. But for the last week or two, she's been hanging around. So that is a prime example of a Idaho mule deer doe right there. And she's been hanging around here for the last few days, I think mainly because there's just a lot of feed up here. But the further I get on this pin, I'm gonna have to keep her in mind because she's not supposed to be in here with my deer. Or when I finish my pin, I'm not supposed to have any wild animals caught up in my pin. That's the main thing. That deer right there is susceptible to chronic wasting disease when my deer are not. That's part of the reason why I felt like the fallow deer was worth getting into. They don't seem to have some of the health problems that the whitetail and the mule deer are suffering right now across the country. Well, this is the very end of this fence line, and in spite of how challenging it has been, I've made it down here to the bottom. I just have to finish stretching things out, getting things positioned right, nail it off. Then there's a little short run and some gates that I need to build before this corner is completely finished. Okay, this fence line is done. I was gonna try and finish up this last little piece right here, but I'm too tired. This kind of work, there's just no easy way to do it going up and down the hills. And I'm telling you, this might be the hardest project that I've taken on out of all the projects because there's just no easy way to do it. Back and forth, stretching the fence. I'm gonna go along with the saw now and cut all the tops of the posts off and make them even. I'm gonna finish this little piece right here, and then next week, it's all about that final trail. None of that trail is really anywhere near this steep. So my hope is that that side should go pretty fast and it shouldn't be as physically demanding. I'm gonna get out here in the morning and finish this little piece. And then I've got to build some gates, and then we're getting to the tail end of this project here, and holy mackerel, it can't happen soon enough. So thank you guys for hanging in here with me, and we will see you guys soon.